joining us right now from somewhere around the world. And I mean somewhere. He's been out there somewhere. Mike from around the world.
God bless you, Pastor Paul.
God bless you, Mike. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Wait, before we start,
okay.
There is a, for some people that they already know it's COT, but I have a plastic piece in the roof of my mouth, almost like a palate expander.
Okay.
Except this keeps the some scan they did in place. That was done, that'll be over in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, I left on the 17th in a hurry.
Yes, you did.
Actually, it was the 16th, but 17th in a hurry. Pastor, where do you begin? Let's just say that a rearrangement of the Middle East is taking place, and military bases are leaving. Our military bases are leaving. We're getting our equipment and guys out of the Middle East. They have to be repositioned. They have to come out of Syria fast.
Wow.
Yep. Pastor, natural disasters, right?
Yep.
Suppose they hit an all-time high this year, 2025.
Okay.
We are vulnerable. The Mississippi, right, is about to overflow big time. Right? If it continues, it will overflow. We're having more stalled storms. They do not want to tell people that the storm system we have right now is one system. It's not multiple systems. It's one system. It's dropping water all over the place. Tornadoes they form and everything else. That's going to be followed by some cold and heat shears. That's going to cause even worse weather, right? Flooding and fires are just beginning, right? Then we have to go through atmospheric changes. The wind speeds are certainly going to shift. With some later on this year, some solar, I'm going to call them a solar blowout. We're going to have a solar blowout. And, that's really going to expose some of the mechanisms between Earth and the sun and some very interesting science that is quite dangerous.
Well, while you were gone last week and the sun, and BP Earthwatch was on with us last week, and he told us about how the magnetosphere opened up on the Earth for 9 hours.
Yeah.
And the winds were coming off the sun at over 660 kilometers per second and blowing straight at us, this huge, gigantic hole. And then we started having earthquakes everywhere, and people were having pain, and people were having nausea and migraines and dizziness, and all kinds of things were happening to us from the sun. And so I guess I wanted to get your take on, look, there's all, you talked about the void, and maybe that's something you're going to talk about in our webinar coming up. I don't know. But it seems like the sun is becoming more and more volatile. I mean, way more. And can you speak about that to some degree?
Yeah, sure it is. If I'm just saying if, I believe we do, but if we live in a binary system, right? Okay. The closer we get to the passage of one star to another, two suns, right? We're going to have interruptions in how the sun operates. It's going to change. It's going to do things that are not friendly to any planet, right? For example, the oceans that they have found on Mars, right? And some of the other things that they're finding on Mars may not, hopefully, as published. Oops. But
I was getting ready to say, where'd you get that information? I don't think it's published.
People will begin to redetermine some science in their own heads, right? As truth comes out, as more truth comes out, undeniable truth, right? Okay. For example, if you wake up one day and they say, hey, in Brazil, the oceans are boiling, but not anywhere else. What's going on down there, right? And it's when their atmospheric changes so bad, Pastor Paul, that no one can walk right. No one.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. It messed up the GPS and the tractors. Easter Sunday afternoon, their farmers were out planting fields, and their tractors started dancing. The GPS, they literally, because those guys don't drive those things. They get in there, they set it, they set back and just watch it. and they started dancing in the field. So
Right.
what does that mean planes would do?
Well, this same thing, except for the redundancy on an aircraft. We may have a wrong heading or something like that, but thank God for flight dynamics and redundancy in computers. But that's not going to work well when you have too much pressure change. No system is adapted to deal with that much of a pressure change. Anyway, though, we're going to start to see these types of activities on the Earth that are undeniable. And they will, as we stated 15 years or 13 years ago to this very day, they will gradually increase, right? Gradually,
Yes.
day to day. So if you compress time and you look at things 5 years at a time, not month to month, but
Okay.
5 years
Okay.
at a time,
Okay.
then you see the true changes in the Earth, and they are devastating. In fact, if we could compress 10 years, I think that all of us would say Christ is coming in 5 minutes or something like that, right? Because the changes are so the increase is just, it blows your mind. But if we're in a binary system, expect the sun to burn out certain chemicals. It again has been observed that when a second star gets near the bright star, right? When a cold star gets near a bright star, there is a material exchange between the bright star and the cold star. That means a diversion of light. Photons start being diverted towards the other star. That's how it recharges before it goes back out again. We may never see the second star, right? We may see some of the objects that rotate around the second star, but not the second star.
Okay. All
But
right.
we'll certainly see a diversion of materials. Can you imagine our sun elongated?
What?
It'll look elongated.
Wait a
Our
minute.
sun will look elongated.
Okay. Is that because that we shifted? Who shifted here? I mean,
No. That's because materials from the sun, right, will be sucked into the other star,
hydrogen?
right? All of it, well, whatever it has. Think of it this way: if you can be in a house doing anything, right?
Yeah.
You can have no air blowing, but if you put two magnets close together, that magnetic force is going to activate. Right? It's going to draw those magnets together.
So it's a gravitational pull? Is that what's
somewhat?
Somewhat.
You're electromagnetic. You're looking at radiation bands, right? Being initialized on very different levels. You're looking at heat characteristics that we don't quite understand yet, but can observe. You're looking at a compression event on the sun that will cause it to be extremely yellow, right? Yellow to reddish. Now, here's something interesting. During that material exchange, there's no light that will hit anywhere outside of that, exchange band. So hopefully we're not in the middle of that band, because when all that material, think of a solar flare, right?
Yeah.
All those solar flares in 1 year going to one side of the sun. That's what it will seem to be. Anything caught between that is going to get fried, but everything else will have no light. They'll have a red light. Everything will turn red. Now that can last for a day. That can last for 40 days. We don't know.
We won't.
We just don't know.
Okay, so it could
But
certainly be.
It will be red. Everything will be red. Everything will be red.
Now, is that part of the 3 days of darkness kind of thing, or is it, if everything's going to be red, it's not totally dark? But how do we survive 3 days like that? Just 3 days? Do we?
Well, you're looking at infrared heat. I believe we will.
Okay.
I believe that a lot of people will, they're going to go underground. That's when they will seek their real protection. Why? Because of wind speeds on the surface of the Earth. Without the sun balances so much. Without it, we're done for. You're looking at 200 plus mile an hour winds on the gusts on the surface of the Earth. And that just wouldn't be good.
So if in other words, we're going to have an excessive wind, tornadoes, straight line winds, massive dust. I
believe it'll be dry then too.
Yeah. Drought. Yeah. Well, the wind will dry things out quick. I mean,
I think, Pastor Paul, after this, what we're having on the Earth right now, right, this buildup of weather phenomena, is going to be followed by the worst drought anybody has ever seen.
Dear Lord.
I mean, no rain, right? Now, no rain whatsoever means, are we going to have clouds? Very few, very few. We're going to go through a phenomenon that's been observed several times. They can't really talk about it because nobody can do anything about it. But after all this rain, through compression and through the sun's activities, we're not going to have rain at all. That means drought. And I believe that drought has already begun. I believe it's already begun. It's going to get worse. The rain that we're having now is going to flood just about everything, but it's not going to help anybody. Unless people start, saving all the water, they can. But the earth is not saving the water. The earth is, evaporating that water.
Because the heat, because of the wind, because of the evaporation. Because what about the magma rising?
That's just, how can water sustain itself in the earth? Like, we're not talking about superheated water that's in a cavity.
Right,
but
right.
How can water, be sustained in a hot earth? The ground temperatures are hotter than they've ever been. The ocean temperatures are hotter than they've ever been. And water is simply not staying in the earth. Salt water intrusion is taking place.
Yes.
Fresh water's gone despite the rainfall. It's the weirdest thing anybody ever saw. You have all this flooding that we had, and now you have counties. There are counties in the USA that their reservoirs have gone dry just that quick.
It's dry. It's dry down here in Florida. I've never seen it. Okay, the retention ponds, I've never seen them this low, this insanely low. It hasn't rained. I mean, here at my house here in Florida, I know it hasn't rained in 6 weeks. Not a drop in 6 weeks. My grass is as brown. It's as dead can be.
That's going to be everywhere.
Yeah,
that's going to be everywhere. Just a brownish ground with dead trees. That will be all over the place. But the crops, they're really destroyed. There's going to be a limit on meat in 1 month. The weather conditions are killing. They're just killing the fields, the farms. They're suffering big time. None of us could ignore the fact that this outbreak has happened all at one time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I do know that Italy is on borrowed time, that Rome is on borrowed time, geologically.
Yeah, you're the number one guy to say that. So because we got the fault line, we got the volcanoes.
Yep. Yeah. And I tell you, the reality of that situation can almost make you cry for the people because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Water. It's when that happens, water is going to overtake that entire lip. I mean, everything is going to go, and that will be devastating within itself. Everybody will start to have like a memory loss, amnesia. People will start to have an amnesia that is weird. Right? Imagine forgetting something one day, but then the next day you're good to go. This will be a byproduct of the magnetosphere.
I'm already there, Mike. I'm already having those issues, so now you're just going to make it worse.
Because without the magnetic shielding, right?
Yeah.
Your neurons, your neural net in your brain, those connections become meaningless for a second or two, and that can cause memory loss big time. That can cause memory loss, and for some people, it can turn them into animals. It can make them highly aggressive, or hyper depressed. So we're going to have to deal with that. These emotions, these large, emotional swings. So get ready for that. I just don't believe we have the time people think we have. I don't. I just don't. And it's going to be a sad deal for those who rejected Christ, because he's working. It's almost like right now Christ is working he's active with everybody on a very intimate level. And how many people are rejecting him by choosing the ways of this world yet again over the ways of righteousness? Or worse, they have made unto themselves their own Christ.
That's worse. No. That's blasphemous.
Yeah, well, we have the Islamic kingdom rising, and they're starting to spread like a plague. I mean, a real plague. And then we have something is happening in America you have a president who finally spoke the name of Jesus. But who does that?
That's
right?
amazing. That's
Who
amazing.
does that? Because I used to tell people all the time, anybody can say God all day long. I don't know what God they're talking about.
But
They say
Jesus.
identify that with Christ.
But Jesus.
And so, yeah, we're in a very different time. But well, here we are.
Well, we are right in the middle of it. And let me
We are.
ask you, now that you did 3 days and you've come back, are we closer than we thought?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most.
Right?
You know what?
Do you sense that things are a lot further down the road than you thought?
I do.
Yeah.
I think we're in the middle of something right now. Right? It's almost like being in the eye of a storm.
Oh, boy.
But we cannot see outside the eye. Right?
Yeah.
But with a little shift, we get the full grunt of the storm. And the warnings have gone out for 5,000 years.
Yep.
They've already gone out. Everything has already been declared, but people are people. And
Yeah.
because I'll say it again, geologically, things are not going to hold together. They're not.
Yeah,
They're just not.
I'm of course, Jesus warned us that this would be the birthing pains. He told us it was going to be like a time like we've never seen before, nor ever will be. So, I mean, how many ticking time bombs do you? I mean, Cascadia's subduction zone, this fault line under Italy. You got Tonga down there, the super volcano. You got Yellowstone over here. Now we got Mount Spur about ready to blow. We got all those volcanoes along the west coast of California, all the way down to, you've talked about it, all the way into Mexico, all the way down into the Caribbean area. You got that big crack up there in the North Atlantic that you've talked about that shoots kind of under New York and all that.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And then I didn't even bring up, New Madrid. So,
yeah.
What do you think? Where are you the most concerned? If you had to pick one, I'm not trying to have you prophesy it, or I'm not going to hold you to it. Just if you had to pick one, which is the one around the world that you think is the closest, the most dangerous thing?
Rome. Rome. It's just, it's sad. It's the sad thing. That's just a sad thing.
Mike, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Pastor, God bless and keep you always. It's always an honor.
The honor's mine. It really is. It really is. God bless, brother.
God bless.